Hi, I'm Steph. I just spent 12 incredible days exploring Japan, specifically Tokyo and Kyoto. It was my third time visiting these cities, but it was going to be Andrew's first time visiting Kyoto, so I was especially excited. Japan is definitely one of my favorite destinations, and this time I have a camera with me to capture all our memories. We booked our flights back in October 2022, so almost 6 months before our trip. That was when Japan was starting to open up to the world for traveling after COVID. We were able to snatch really good deals on the hotels and our flights, even though it was close to cherry blossom season. But about 2 to 3 weeks before our trip, we learned that cherry blossom season was actually going to happen earlier this year. I was really sad and it affected our itinerary a little bit, but cherry blossoms or not, Japan is still an incredibly beautiful place to visit. I spent months researching our trip, but there were still things I wish I had accounted for. I want to share 6 must-know tips for an unforgettable Japan adventure. Tip number 1. Japan Rail Pass is not always worth it, so plan where you want to go before you purchase it. The Japan Rail Pass is a train pass designed specifically for tourists. It's extremely popular and it only works with trains under the JR group. We were flying into Tokyo, so I knew we would at least take the Shinkansen round trip to and from Kyoto. I also wanted to visit some new places this time, including Hiroshima, the Miyajima Island, Osaka, and Nara as day trips, so I knew if we get the pass, it would definitely be worth it. You can check the prices on all these trains through Google Maps and see if it's actually worth it for you to get the pass, especially now that JR will be increasing the prices on the pass. If you do decide to go with the JR pass, make sure you make the most out of your free seat reservations on the Shinkansens. Japan is a really popular tourist destination and it is pretty much always crowded, so I highly recommend reserving a seat if you do plan to take the Shinkansen to popular destinations like Kyoto. There are designated seats for people traveling with large suitcases now. Be sure to make your reservations early. If you purchase your pass directly with the JR company online, you can even make seat reservations at least 1 month ahead of your trip. And you can pick up your pass and your seat reservations at the same time. Lastly, after you get the pass, I also highly recommend getting a card sleeve for your JR pass. The updated pass is literally the size of a train ticket, and you will be using the same ticket to get in and out of stations for the whole duration of your pass. There is no way to replace your pass if you lose it. We tried. Find a safe place to store your ticket, put it back at the same place every time you use it. Number 2. Add your Suica or Pasmo card to your iPhone. Since the JR Pass only works for trains with the JR company group, a lot of trains are not actually included in the pass, so we still got a Suica card to use the other train services, or you can even use it to pay at convenience stores. To get around even easier, you can actually add the card to your wallet on your iPhone. Now I don't have to grab different cards out of my pocket. You literally just tap at the stations to go in and out. It's so convenient. You also save a ton of time waiting at ticket machines to recharge your card. You can recharge the Suica card within your wallet. Just make sure you link it to a credit card with no transaction fee. Tip number 3. If it is within your budget, I highly recommend shipping your luggage to your next destination if you do plan on traveling long distance on Shinkansens. The luggage delivery service I've used before is called Yamato Transport, and most of the time your hotel concierge can help you fill out the form. I think most convenience stores can also help you with it as well. All you need to do is fill out the form, make the payment, and leave the luggage with your hotel concierge. They will prepare the luggage to be shipped to your next hotel. You can speed up the entire process if you can prepare your hotel's Japanese address ahead of time. I know the process is easy and convenient, but there are a few catches that I wish more people would talk about. First, shipping fees are not necessarily cheap. For our 2 large size luggages, it was about $40 US. It's a price to pay for convenience. Second, it's not same-day delivery if you're delivering it for long distances. For example, our luggage from Tokyo to Kyoto, it takes at least 1 day. You would have to prepare a bag with your essentials for the night and the next day. We did have a carry-on bag, so we put a lot of our stuff in there. It is a slight inconvenience, but it's definitely better than traveling with 2 large luggages. I also wouldn't call it hands-free traveling unless you really don't need anything. Tip number 4. Choose your priority and plan plan accordingly. If you're going to popular destinations like Tokyo and Kyoto, be prepared to do a lot of walking and just spending a lot of time waiting in lines. There are a ton of people everywhere and everyone wants to eat at the same restaurant and take pictures at the same spots. Try to decide on your priorities when you're planning your trip. Are you willing to skip out on specific restaurants to have more time at the scenic spots? Do you want to take beautiful pictures without the crowds? Then you will have to get out super early and avoid weekends and holidays. We once waited in line for at least 30 to 45 minutes just for a coffee in this pretty chill neighborhood in Ginza. It was a tiny coffee shop with high reviews on Google, but we definitely did not expect such a long line.
It's not looking good. Lines everywhere. A lot of the popular spots, at least.
We also thought the lines would be pretty short if we eat dinner early at like 3:30, but there was already a line waiting for us once we got to the restaurant. And all of this waiting is just for 2 people. If you are traveling with a large group, I highly recommend spending more time researching restaurants that can accommodate large groups and can take reservations ahead of time. Oftentimes, your hotels can also help you make reservations. All of this waiting in line doesn't just apply to food. I thought I had a brilliant idea to freshen up at the Haneda airport. It was probably like 6:40 a.m. and the shower room already had a 2-hour wait. Tip number 5. Research restaurants that you might want to visit in areas that you're visiting and save them on Google Maps. If you already know there are restaurants that you must try, I highly recommend trying to make reservations at least a month ahead. This is not an easy feat since a lot of restaurants only have their website in Japanese or they only take phone reservations. My brother, who's a big foodie, recommended these platforms where you can make reservations more easily. Check them out if you're interested. Since eating at restaurants is not really our priority, I only made reservations at 2 restaurants. It's actually really hard to travel and sightsee if you have restaurant reservations where you have to make it by a certain time. We were pretty spontaneous with our meals, but what saved us from many hangry fights was my research ahead of time. So I will research the area that we'll be visiting and save restaurants that we might be interested in eating at. When it comes to eating time, I would just go through the restaurant that I saved and see which one we feel like eating. This saves us so much time just standing there and researching for the perfect restaurant that we're feeling. Even if you're not a picky eater, I would still recommend cushioning more time in your schedule for eating and waiting in line at restaurants. Tip number 6. Carve out time on your schedule to learn about the culture and history of the places you're visiting. It may be just me, but I found exploring these cities to be much more enjoyable when I know a little bit about their history or their cultures. I wish I had planned more cultural activities in our schedule. I usually like to go to the museums when I visit a city, but there's just so much to see in Japan that they didn't make it on my list. There was a railway museum in Kyoto, super close to our hotel. I wish we had gone to see it. But besides museums, you can also look for guided tours with the locals. We did one tip-based walking tour in Kyoto and I really don't recommend it. Our group was huge, so you could barely hear the lady, and the type of stories and information she was telling us was also not what we were looking for. We should have just booked a paid tour instead so we knew what to expect. One of the highlights of our trip was a kimono tea ceremony in Kyoto. We really enjoyed learning about the history and culture. It was also a ton of fun dressing up. I highly recommend it. Photographing these temples and neighborhoods are just so much more meaningful when you know the stories behind them. And these are my 6 tips for planning an unforgettable trip. If you have any other tips or experiences you would like to share, please leave them in the comments below. I hope you found them to be helpful for your trip. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next video.